I'd like to say that I don't in any way want to encourage you to lash out at the Jews or the Republicans or the president in any way and take it in within your own hands to correct the wrongs they've created. Karma's going to take care of them, and karma will deal with them decisively. And, you know, for you to do it, you run the risk of going to jail, you run the risk of hurting yourself and your family, and really having no effect. I mean, uh, it's quite impossible for one person or even a group to affect them, these other groups, in ways that are meaningful, that you don't come off looking like the bad guy. That's the problem. They're going to paint you as the bad guy, and uh, you might be Robin Hood, but Robin Hood was painted as a bad guy, and he was feeding the poor. So, and I don't want you to be Robin Hood, and I want you to know that there is a Robin Hood out there, and there's a Robin Hood that's going to do what Robin Hood did, and it's going to correct the wrongs. And I'm just educating you on what they do and how they do what they do and why they do what they do. But, it's just uh, to take it in your own hands, you know, it's not going to be effective. It's going to be a waste of time. You might lose your life. Your family might lose you if you go to jail or something. So, you know, by them being the way they are, they're trying to bring out the good people like yourself that want to do something about what they do, and they're trying to bring you out so they can arrest you and they can um, do what they want to you. Because once you come out, they can do what they want to you. They know who you are, and you lose and they don't. They win, and they do it on purpose. They're trying to draw you out, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to let them do that. The person that's going to get them, they're not going to know where they're coming from, and they're just going to be gotten when it's time. And it all has to do with divine timing. If you do something, it's not divine timing, and that's why it won't work. And I'm not promoting attacks of any kind. Uh, I know they'll happen because they bring it on themselves. I don't have to. I don't know. Be a cheerleader for a rebel group. The rebel group is forming with or without me, and it's not because of me, but because of what they do. And that rebel group is going to be decisive, and it's going to be working on divine timing. And I'm not telling the rebel group to stop doing what they're doing, like the Proud Boys stand down. The Proud Boys are the biggest losers on the planet, but and stuff like that. But it's just that I say, and I've always said it. I said it on quite a few videos so far. Probably have to go old school videos on me to find it. But I always said, get a good bowl of popcorn and sit back and watch the TV, and you'll watch it all unfold. I mean, good days are not in their future. Death and destruction is in their future, and you don't have to be the one to bring it about. Just sit back and watch it like you would a movie, and know that I said it, know that it's going to happen, and know that, it's not going to be like the end of a war where everybody goes back to being friends or something. No, these people will never be forgotten what they did. They will never be forgiven. Well, I think you should forgive them, and forgiveness, is not about forgiving them. It's about forgiving yourself and not living your life in hate and not living with hate for the rest of your life. And for that reason, you have to forgive. You don't have to forget. Forgetting is not part of forgiving, but you should forgive them for what they did and realize they're just human, and they were trying to one up you. They were trying to gain control of the planet and have the planet go according to their music, their tune. They wanted the planet to play their tune and only their tune. And the problem with that is nobody's going to play their tune, and they're going to regret what they did. And so, but you don't have to be the bearer of that. You don't have to. They're going to be the bearer of what their consequences that they earned, and you don't have to be the one to bring it to them. You know, it's like the cops. The cops are bad news, and they get what they deserve, and they'll get it in the next life as well. They don't get away with anything. Nobody gets away with anything. I told you, everybody gets what they deserve. So, if you're a bad cop, then you should plan on a horrible future. Whether it's cancer, whether it's amputation or being whatever. There'll be many different forms. Karma gets you in many ways you can't imagine. Divorce, your kids hating you, your community hating you, whatever. You won't be hailed the hero if you're a loser, and it's just they won't name a street after you if you're a loser, and so it's just don't be in the revenge business, please. I mean, you should educate yourself. You should know how they work and how they function. Not so you can be revengeful, but so you can not let it affect you and not let it happen to you. The hate crime was invented by Jews because it was a revenge on Jew hate, and that's when they use it the most. So, it's just, so if you go after them, then you'll be committing a hate crime, and it's just not worth it. They hate themselves more than anything else, and you could never hate them as much as they hate themselves, and you could never hurt them more than they hurt themselves. So don't be a patsy, don't be a fool. Just go get the popcorn, plenty of butter, sit down and watch the show, because Trump's going to be a show to watch as he falls to the utmost bottom of bottoms, and that's where he's headed. Everything he renamed, every sign he did is going to be reversed, and the reflection pool will be fixed by a real pool company and not the mob that he hired. So, it's just, everything will be fixed. And I think if my advice is to let the Republicans win in November, and let them win in November. Let them keep the House, keep the Senate. Let them do all the crazy things they want to do. And, sometimes bad things have to happen for good things to happen. And I think the more bad things we let the Republicans do, the more good things are going to happen. It's like Hitler was really bad for Germany, but Germany turned out to be a very good country after Hitler. And it's very resistant to going back to being another Hitler Germany. It's very resistant to that. And any leader that even smells like Hitler is rejected, and I think any leader that smells like Trump will be rejected after this, and I think it'll be a good thing, but if you rescue him too soon, then if you rescue the country from him too soon, then I think you lose it, you lose the impact, you lose the benefit of letting him screw the country the way he wants to. And, it's just, don't always think about today, think about tomorrow, and good things will come out of this. Very good things, very, very good things will come out of this. And I don't want to see you in a jail cell or your family hurting because they lost you because of this. Just like I said, get a lot of popcorn, get a lot of butter, pay your app subscription or whatever it is you pay to watch TV, pay the Jews to watch TV. So, they can't help but air what's going to happen to them because there's nothing else to air. And it's not just the president, it's everybody, Israel. Israel's like a mosquito on the leg, and a mosquito, when they get a lot of blood in them, they're easier to kill. So leave it there, let it suck the blood, and when it comes time, we will definitely swat that mosquito dead.